Hi, welcome to our video for Module 2. It's all about making this little 4-page site involving design principles such as Jacob Nielsen's heuristics, F-patterns, grids, consistency, and then there are some other choices for a possible 5th topic for that big A+ grade. On the home page of our class site under News, you can get a .zip called yourname_2.zip. And if you double click on that, it'll download to your desktop. And double click on that zip file on your desktop, and it'll open up to a folder called yourname_2. Now you'll want to right away rename that, where it says your name. In fact, type in your actual name there. Once you do that, even before you open up the page here in Dreamweaver, you'll want to go into Dreamweaver and do Site from the menu and Manage Sites. That's the menu bar up at the top, Site, Manage Sites, and you can set up a new site for yourself. I've done that. I've named it JohnHall_2, and I have told Dreamweaver where my root folder lives. My root folder's out on my desktop. It's named JohnHall_2. So Dreamweaver knows where the site root folder is for this particular site. You'll want to do that on your laptop at home. You'll want to do that if you're working in the lab. Do that on the computer in the lab so that copy of Dreamweaver knows exactly where your site is. If you're working on a desktop computer at home, do it there. If you're borrowing a friend's computer who has Dreamweaver, you'll have to go into Dreamweaver and manage sites there. So what you'll get when you open up this folder is you will get an index page, index.html, and there's also an images folder there, which is populated with one little header image. Feel free to use that same header image if you like, or definitely feel free to replace it with something more glamorous and or more suited to you. And we can talk about how to do that momentarily. So we can open up this index page in Dreamweaver. I will grab that from my folder and drag it down to the Dreamweaver icon in the dock. That's one way to open it up. And here's basically what it looks like. We'll look at it in the design view. It's just one of those Dreamweaver sample pages, and you can, of course, get the split view to view the HTML, and we'll work a little bit with the CSS styles in this document. A couple of techniques, first of all, that we can go over that might come in handy. As we had talked about in Module 1B, there's a background color on these, this white background color that extends throughout most of the document. That's governed by a style called container. And there's our background color of white. In hexadecimal language, it's FF, FF, 6 Fs. You can highlight this word container from your CSS styles panel. You can highlight that, and at the bottom of that CSS styles panel, there's a little pencil icon. Click on that, and you can get this dialog box to change the color. And there are several different categories. There's type up top, and then background right below it. That's where we can change out the background color. If you don't like the white background color, you can easily change that to something else, and we'll apply. So I've got this kind of pale yellow. That's not too horrible, I guess. And let's click OK and just apply that. That's one change that you can make. You can change these over here. These are the navigational elements: heuristics, F-pattern, grids, etc. You can change those out as well. Let's see if we can zoom in on that a little bit. There we go. You can change those out. Now, Dreamweaver CS5 is, kind of sophisticated about how it does this. It's got several styles here that govern that. The A styles for links govern it, but what governs the color? Well, let's take a look in the HTML, actually. How these are made. Each of these words here, heuristics, F-pattern grids, etc., those exist as a list item. This little tag here that says LI in the brackets, LI. That's a list item. And together they're grouped in something called an unordered list, UL. So these styles here, the color of the type when you roll over it, the color of the background, the little hairline rules at the top and bottom, those are all governed by either the A link or the LI list item or the UL, or also the UL has this class on it, a class style called nav. Let's see where those are in our CSS. And here they are. Here's unordered list nav. That's where we've got a little border at the top, a little border line. And there's some margin, this bit of space on the left, to the left of these words, in between the edge of that. That's governed by this 15 pixel margin. Let's see, UL nav LI, in other words, unordered list class nav list item. And that's got a border at the bottom, and that's this little 1 pixel solid line at the bottom. Let's see, UL class nav A, in other words, the link. UL class nav A visited, in other words, when the link is visited, it gets assigned a different background color, and the text is a color. Now here's our background color, and let's take a look. Let's click on that pencil icon at the bottom of our CSS styles. Now that's this gray color, or sorry, blue-gray color. If we wanted to change that, let's say we want to change that out to something like so. I'll hit apply. Pow! Then for better or worse, the background changes out like that. Let's take a look here. Let's preview that in the browser. Yeah, we can save about now. There we go. Oh, now it's, when I roll over it, it goes to a gray. This may not be the default. I was playing around with these background colors, rehearsing for the video, and I left the rollover color as gray. So let's see where that lives. This formerly blue-gray, now this kind of golden color, that lived under UL class nav A visited. For the rollover color, we want to look for the word hover. So UL class nav A hover. That's the one that we want, and that's the one that's going to be gray. Yeah, that's CCCC color. Let's click on the pencil at the bottom. And again, you may not be able to see this pencil icon very well in the video, but it's at the bottom of this CSS Styles panel. And any of these panels, of course, are available under Window. Right there, there's CSS Styles. So I will click on that style that says ul.nav a:hover. Click on that. I'll click on the pencil icon at the bottom that says Edit Rule. And I get this dialog box where I can navigate to the background properties. And here, instead of gray, I don't know. What do we think? Let's see. Now the type is going to be white, at least right now, unless we specify differently. Let's get maybe I don't know, maybe a brown. Not that it's totally attractive, but kind of, goes with this golden color scheme that I'm kind of changing to here. So let's see. I'll save. And let's see what that's like. No, not too shabby. And we could change out some of these other colors. This blue background color is found in sidebar 1, and the dark blue-gray background color is found under body. So here we go, sidebar 1. There's my background color. I can click on the pencil. I'll get the dialog box, and again, that's under background. So we could change that to something else. Click OK. There we go. And that dark blue-gray on the outside, I think, was governed under body. Yeah. So while body is active, I'll click on the pencil icon and get my dialog box. If it's not on background already, you can certainly navigate there in this left column by clicking on it. And I don't know, what sort of background should we have? Maybe, okay. How about that? And about now, you might want to change out that background image in the header. Let's see what this looks like in the browser first. Yeah, maybe so. I don't have an image handy here, but I'll show you how to do that. What you'll want to do is find an image of your own, hopefully one of your own making, something that's suitable. Save that out as a JPEG or PNG and put it in this images folder. Images folder. Now, if you don't want to do all that, or if you're not yet a Photoshop maven, feel free to use this one. You bear in mind that it's green. You may want to make a more compatible color scheme than I've got going here. But if you do have an image, put it in that images folder, and then under header, you can scroll through here. You don't necessarily have to read this in the video. You know it's in the CSS styles. And there it is. You can click on header, click on the pencil icon at the bottom of your CSS styles dialog box, and again navigate to the background category and hit browse where it says background image. Hit browse. Navigate to your root folder. Hopefully, if you've managed sites correctly, that root folder will show up right away. It may even go straight to the images folder in there. And then navigate to your new graphic. It should write a nice short little URL like images/yourgraphicname.png or .jpg. And you'll hit choose. I'm going to hit cancel right now because I don't have anything to change it to. But that would change out the background. Now, the way that I have established this space around the header is I've typed in some text, which you'll want to replace, of course, with your own name. I've typed in some text and I put some padding around it. In other words, it's added space around my content, from the edge of my content to the edge of the header. That's padding. And depending on what you do with this, you may want to adjust some of the padding. And it's once you know what the padding's all about, it's got bottom, left, right, top, fairly easy to understand. I've got 150 pixels from the left. That's how I have room for this goofy eye image that I've got here. And 5 pixels top and bottom. That gives me a little extra space around this headline text that I've got here. So there we go. There's a couple little tricks. Let's see. We're asking you to put a link on here. And you may want to link out to some other site. I'm asking you to find examples, good examples a lot of times, sometimes bad examples, of these design principles that you're illustrating, whether it's one of Jacob Nielsen's heuristics or guidelines or F-pattern or grids, whatever you're illustrating at the time. I'm asking you to go out and take a look around the web. Let's say for one of the examples for good, bad, or ugly, or minimalist or beautiful or whatever you like, you have chosen something on the Apple site, for example. You'll want to take a screenshot of that. If you are on the PC, that's done with print screen, which copies it to your clipboard. You've got to paste it into something like Photoshop and edit it. If you are fortunate enough to be on a Mac to do this, you can do good old Command-Shift-4. Command-Shift-4 on your keyboard, and that will give you this little crosshair cursor with X and Y numbers on it, which you probably can't see in the video, but it gives you this crosshair cursor, and you can click and drag over top of your selected portion of that website, whatever part you want to illustrate, along with your commentary. And I'm going to take a screenshot of this. There it is. And on the Mac, that shows up immediately as a PNG. I can rename that for my own sanity if I want, rather than saying screenshot with the date and time, although that's handy information to know. I could just call that apple.png. And these screenshots are PNG. Previous versions would have given you a JPEG, which would also be suitable. So this is what I took a screenshot of, and that's something that I can import into my page. What do I need to do first, though, to import it into the page? Got to open up my site root folder and drag this into my images folder. There it is, apple.png, right there in my images folder. Now it's going to be kind of a big image, but that's okay. We'll just pop it right in there. And let's see. How do we insert an image? Well, there's a number of different ways. From Window here, we can get this Insert panel and find the nice little tree icon that says Images next to it. Or you could go up to the Insert menu and get Insert Image. Either way, if you go either route, it will give you this dialog box. Select image source. Hopefully it will navigate to that images folder inside your site root folder. And there's my handy PNG. And I've managed my site properly, so it's giving me that nice short URL that it's going to write in my code, images/apple.png. So if I hit choose, and of course the alt tag, let's see, Apple website page. And that's a big image. Here's what it wrote for me. Right in there, I had my cursor underneath this last paragraph of the heuristics section. And inside of a p tag, it writes, there's an image tag, and it writes source equals images/apple.png. Nice short little path that travels with this document. So as long as the document's traveling inside my root folder and it's got the images folder in there, we're good to go. Now, later on, in about 2 weeks, we'll talk about how to optimize images, because this is a big screaming image. It's 289K, which is huge, just huge for the web. But for this assignment, we'll kind of fudge that a little bit, and we'll just resize it. Now, this drives home the point that you can resize things in Dreamweaver. You can resize things, but it doesn't knock down the file size any. It's still going to be 289K. It's not going to load any faster. It's just going to look smaller. And how do I size this down proportionally? Let's see, because I can size each dimension here. This is in my Properties Inspector, by the way. If you don't see the Properties Inspector, that too is under Window. You have Properties right there. It's just one of these panels that we like to work with. And let's see. Now you can also modify image. Let's see what we can do with that. You can optimize. Well, this is what we'll do in a couple of weeks. Or you could take it into Photoshop from here. If you are good with Photoshop, let's do that. Let's resize this in Photoshop. In Photoshop, I could go Image and get Image Size. And I'll resample down to 300 pixels. So the height would be 229 if I take this down to 300. Now you'll notice by doing this in Photoshop, I am changing the file size, although this still isn't very optimal. But let's do that. Let's change the file size, and I'll save. And let's see, we said it was 300 wide by 229 high. There we go. That's teeny. Okay. That's one way to do it. If the image wasn't quite so large, you can click and drag on these corners in Dreamweaver. If you do that, please, 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 if you use the method of clicking and dragging on a corner, please hold down that Shift key. Why hold down the Shift key? That maintains the proportions. There we go. I'm back to my 300 wide by 229. Otherwise, what will happen is it'll get stretched like this, or squished like so. You don't want that. You want nice, believable proportions on here. So that's a little bit about how to put an image in there, because you will need that. The screenshot, Command-Shift-4, then you click and drag over the image. It gives you a PNG out on your desktop. You want to put that PNG in your Images folder, and then you can insert the image either by clicking on the little tree icon that says Images in your insert bar, or going up to Insert Image. Then there's the bit of resizing the image. So that's a little bit about images and some of the techniques that you'll need in also CSS to colorize this.